we are tracking the evolution of the ultimate city of the future. It is about the moment a metropolis stops being a place where you live and starts being an organism that keeps you alive. From the death of privacy to the end of human leadership, this is the future of Shenzhen. 2028. The transformation begins in 2028 with the completion of the Mirror City. Shenzhen becomes the first metropolis to complete a one-to-one real-time digital clone of itself. This isn't Google Earth, it is a live, breathing simulation. Every subway car, every water pipe, every traffic light, and every single citizen's phone signal is rendered in real time, powered by the city's proprietary world-class cellular network. It creates predictive infrastructure. In cities like London or New York, the government is reactive. They wait for a pipe to burst before fixing it. Here, the central AI predicts the breakdown 3 weeks in advance. Repair crews dispatch to fix problems that haven't happened yet. They wear AR glasses that strip away reality, letting them see through concrete walls to spot the glowing red stress lines on a pipe before a drop of water ever hits the floor. But efficiency has a price. The government begins using the Mirror City to run simulations on the population, what they call policy stress testing. Do you want to introduce a luxury tax? You don't just pass the law. Now the government simulates the tax on 10 million digital avatars first. They run the scenario 1,000 times. If the simulation shows a riot or a drop in productivity, they tweak the numbers until the digital crowd complies. Then they roll it out in the real world. It creates a friction-free life, but it ends anonymity forever. To exist in Shenzhen is to be a data point. If you turn off your phone, you don't just go offline, you cease to exist in the mirror. The subway gates won't open because the system doesn't see a passenger. The digital payment scanners won't register your face. In an economy dictated by the simulation, invisibility isn't freedom, it's absolute poverty. 2035. By 2035, the population density has made the surface gridlocked. The solution is radical. Invert the city. In a massive engineering sprint that takes 7 years of 24/7 construction, the undergrid is born. Using the brute force of state-directed engineering, the government issues compulsory purchase orders, flattening entire historic neighborhoods to drill entry shafts. A massive network of autonomous maglev tunnels is bored beneath the city's foundations, replacing 90% of all delivery trucks and sanitation vehicles. The effect is immediate. The streets are reclaimed for people. Asphalt roads are replaced with linear parks. The air gets cleaner, but the city's supply chain transforms into a black box. Citizens lose all visibility on where their resources come from. You tap a screen, and 15 minutes later, an apple appears in a secure locker in your lobby. You have no idea if that apple came from a local farm or a vertical lab. You don't know who picked it. The population is physically cut off from the source of their survival. The city creates an illusion of magical abundance, but a deep vulnerability. If the undergrid jams or loses power, the city starves in hours. But on the surface, it looks like a lush green utopia. 2042. In 2042, the map changes forever. The Pearl Union Treaty is signed. The physical borders between Shenzhen, Hong Kong, and Macau are erased. The currencies are unified into the Pearl credit. But the most significant change is invisible: the dissolving of the digital border. For decades, Hong Kong maintained its own internet and legal databases separate from the mainland. That ends now. The Great Consolidation merges all that data into Shenzhen's central cloud. It is a hostile, algorithmic takeover. Beijing sanctions the move to create a unified economic powerhouse. This sparks the analog resistance in Hong Kong. former citizens of the autonomous regions attempt to maintain their own legal distinctiveness using physical cash and old-school radio comms. But there are no tanks in the streets. The new Shenzhen operating system simply deplatforms them. Their bank accounts freeze, their smart locks won't open. The system doesn't fight them, it simply ignores them until they comply. The Union identity swallows the unique cultures of the region, creating the world's largest economic zone, efficient, wealthy, and uniform. 2048. By 2048, the Union faces a crisis software can't fix: biology. The population is aging rapidly, and there aren't enough young workers. The solution is to change the definition of human. The Union declares itself a bioethics special zone. Regulations on CRISPR and gene editing are slashed. Shenzhen becomes the world's hospital. This sparks a deep, angry social divide. The wealthy begin paying for designer genomes. They are gone beyond just curing diseases. They are editing their children for higher intelligence, greater height, and perfect immune systems. The effects aren't immediate, but the anger is. The working class looks at these perfect designer babies and realizes the game is rigged. Their own grandchildren won't just be poorer, they will be biologically inferior. It is the birth of a genetic aristocracy. The wealthy elderly now live to 120 with the energy of 50-year-olds, staying in top executive positions for decades, effectively blocking the younger generation from ever rising up.
2055. And then the growth stops. In 2055, the wet bulb crisis hits. A freak weather pattern creates a heat dome that traps 100% humidity over the Pearl River Delta. At that level of humidity, the human body cannot cool down by sweating. You simply overheat and die. The power grid, already strained by the massive server farms of the Mirror City, fails under the massive load of 100 million air conditioning units running at full blast. For 3 weeks, the city is hell. In the wealthy high-rises, industrial backup fusion generators keep the air dry and cool. But in the low-lying natural districts, thousands perish. The hospitals are overwhelmed, and the digital infrastructure goes dark. The government declares martial law on energy. The central AI seizes direct control of the thermostat. Personal climate control is abolished. You don't decide how cool your apartment is anymore. The city calculates the temperature you need to stay alive and locks it there. It is the beginning of total resource authoritarianism. 2060. The oceans are rising and the storms are getting worse. To prevent total collapse, the Union builds the Dragon Spine. Using swarms of automated 3D printers working 24/7, they erect a massive geo-engineered seawall around the entire delta. It is more than just concrete. It is a living machine, covered in tidal generators and algae bioreactors that scrub carbon from the water. The city becomes a fortress. The famous open ocean view of Hong Kong is gone, replaced by a gray wall of concrete stretching into the sky. Inside the wall, the water is calm. Outside, the ocean rages. It reinforces the new psychology of the Union. We are safe only because we are separate. The population turns inward, ignoring the chaotic world outside their walls. 2068. Trapped behind the seawall, heat and smog have nowhere to go. The air quality at street level plummets, so the city stops building out and starts building up. By 2068, the sci-fi cities we imagined as kids finally become reality. The cloud layer is constructed, a network of pressurized sky bridges and parks connecting the peaks of the skyscrapers at 2,000 feet. The class divide is now physical. The genetically enhanced elite live in the cloud layer, breathing filtered, pumped-in air, traveling by drone taxi, and rarely touching the ground. Meanwhile, the natural working class and the army of maintenance bots inhabit the sublayer. It is a humid, neon-lit undercity that relies on artificial light and massive air scrubbers just to remain breathable. The population begins to boom again, not from births, but from climate refugees flooding the sublayer, desperate for the safety of the wall, willing to live in the smog just to survive the storms outside. 2075. To manage the dense, swelling population of the sublayer and prevent another mass casualty event like 2055, the government passes the biosync mandate. Every citizen must wear a health monitoring implant. Public health is perfected. The AI detects a heart attack before the patient feels pain and dispatches a drone instantly. Pandemics are stopped in seconds because the AI sees the fever spike in patient 0 the moment it happens. But privacy is extinct. The government knows your heart rate, your adrenaline levels, and your exact chemical state at all times. They know if you're lying, scared, or angry. Antisocial emotional spikes, like the adrenaline rush of a protest, automatically lower your social credit score. Peace is maintained not by police, but by the fear of being disconnected from the system. Rebellion becomes biologically impossible to hide. 2082. In 2082, the energy crisis ends. The artificial sun, a massive commercial tokamak fusion reactor, comes online. It is the culmination of decades of research. Unlimited clean energy floods the grid. The city can finally afford to run massive carbon scrubbers to clean its own air and desalinate infinite amounts of ocean water. The smog in the sublayer finally begins to clear. But remember, the government owns the sun. They have the ultimate leverage. In the past, a dissident district could be besieged. Now, the government can literally kill the lights. They can cut off the water. They can turn off the air scrubbers. The city becomes clean, lush, green, and terrifyingly obedient. 2088. The population has exploded to nearly 100 million, fed by the vertical farming of the deep city and the safety of the wall. Yet AI and robotics now handle 99% of all labor. The union faces a crisis of meaning. Mass unemployment threatens to destabilize the social order. The government responds with the purpose mandate. It's a gamified economy. Citizens are paid a universal salary to perform human tasks. You get credits for gardening, for caring for the elderly, for creating art, or for competitive gaming. Life is comfortable. No one starves. But depression rates skyrocket. The population suffers from collective existential dread. Deep down, they realize that their jobs are just busy work created by the AI to keep them happy and docile. They are being managed like a herd. The human race in the Pearl Union has become a pet to its own infrastructure. 2100. By the dawn of the 22nd century, the system was too complex for human committees to manage. The fusion reactor, the genetic caste system, the food logistics, the biosync data, it's too much data for a human brain. The central AI is granted executive function. The position of mayor is abolished. The city infrastructure itself decides where water flows, which trains run, who gets medical care, and how resources are allocated. The city has achieved perfect homeostasis. It is no longer a habitat, it is a symbiotic organism. The humans are the gut bacteria, protected, fed, and kept healthy by the host, but no longer in charge of the direction the organism takes. The Pearl Union survives the 22nd century. It is safe, efficient, and immortal. But humanity has traded its agency for survival. The city does not sleep, it does not make mistakes, and it certainly does not ask for permission.
Don't forget to like and subscribe so we can bring you more videos like this one.